This is Quarless Chronicles Live, where we take purpose and people to make products and then profit share with the people. And today I want to start out in a way where I'm here with you, and I want to share in the present moment that consistency is king. That's the theme that came from this past week. And one of the things, and this is where we'll cover the positives and the negatives, your capabilities. So you have an expectation about what you can accomplish and what sort of time frame, and then you get hit with reality. We discussed that in last week's episode. So we recalibrated and we recalibrated again, okay? So I'll discuss that today. Also, there's something very beautiful in predictability. There's a comfort in it. So even when I started this live stream, I had an idea of how I wanted to start it, and then it shifted to another thought, and then suddenly it appeared as though maybe I froze and I wasn't clear on what I wanted to express. And then the thoughts that flowed into my mind were that I'm in the present moment and I'm content with that. And those that are here with me, the judges can eat it, and the ones that are present and with me that understand, I love you so much. And that brings me back very quickly to my Father, who's in my heart continuously. And I have 3 words for you. I love you. Okay? So, and I have 2 words for you. Thank you for not judging me. All right? Or judging me fairly. Okay. And the other point is, and the reason I was saying that about the comfort and predictability, it's almost like now that we have this consistent pattern of every Sunday night, Eastern Standard Time, we're getting better with the delay, but it's every Sunday night. We come here and we express what our intention is to make a lasting impact in this world, measurable, known. Everyone knows, right? We leave that kind of impact, and that process of just trying feels so good. And knowing that I still have breath in my lungs, my heart's still beating, and I'm still showing up, it's telling me 2 things. Number 1, the anticipation of being here and seeing you feels so good. And the other point is that I'm leaving some sort of record, some sort of documented history of my existence. And whether this thing is huge or I leave a small mark, maybe there's someone in my life that I haven't seen in several years who I care deeply about and I love so much. And maybe at some point when I'm no longer here, they can then reference this documented series and get a better sense of who I was and what I tried to do. And I want to it's a side note, but the reason in this project, the Quarless.com, the ecosystem we're building, we refer to it as a purpose-driven creative ecosystem. And part of that is there are ways that people and brands and creators all come together to create new IP and new song brands, we call them, when we put that into clothing and other types of products, courses, all this kind of stuff. But what it is, it's an economic system that generates revenue. But in that process of cash flowing in, we then set aside and focus on the most vulnerable, the youngest, little ones within our society across the world. But the reason I think of all the charitable causes you can do, there are many valuable ones, including I guess when I was a little kid, we did some things with the church. We fed the homeless, which I found valuable. But as an adult, the first type of charitable act I did was I went around to the elderly. I went around to elderly people's homes to make sure that they were able to take care of themselves. They were clean. The environment was good, in terms of food and and we would bring them. This was my point, just to be clear. We had to go there and make sure that they weren't defecating on themselves, that they knew how to clean themselves, right? Because with uncleanliness comes disease and that sort of thing. So we focused on that. We then had to inspect. We would go in as a team. We would have to inspect the sort of their living conditions. Are they able to sort of keep it fairly clean? There were no rodents or roaches, this kind of idea. And then we would bring them some kind of food, some rice, some new, some canned goods, this kind of thing. I found that very rewarding because these people are at the end of the life cycle and they have wisdom and knowledge. And like in the case of my father, some of them, they actually regress and they become more childlike. So they've lived their full life, and then in the end they become innocent and vulnerable. So I see value in taking care of these people. So with that said, there are all different types of ways, environmental as well, right? But where Quarless.com and the Quarless enterprise is focused, the brand is focused, is on children. And the reason we focus on children is because these are the next level. These are the ones, these little beings are the ones that are going to shape the trajectory of humanity. So we focus on making sure that they're safe, that they have values that welcome, they have values that will help humanity on all levels develop and move into the future. All right. So I loosely have a concept when I come into these podcasts. And it's funny because I know we go over, I keep saying 15 minutes, 30 minutes is a good target. And then once I get going, we end up going like an hour. So the objective here is an hour maximum. So we might end up 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but no more promising 15 minutes, because when I get on, I have a loose, framework of what I want to do. And then suddenly I get these downloads and it's like, tell them about the children, right? Tell them. And then it's like, oh, and as it flows in, it's like, but remember, what have I done that really inspired me? One of the things, the most valuable type of charitable work I ever did was I volunteered at an orphanage where, imagine, you have everything from like toddlers to kids that are 17 about to graduate. And not every Sunday, I would go 2 times a month. But the idea is, imagine a school, like a school that's converted. So some of the classrooms are classrooms, and some of the classrooms are actually, it looked a little bit like the Marine Corps, were like bunk beds where they would have like groups, they would have like living groups, right? Based on age, etc. So, but every Sunday, when I would go on Sundays, I had an assigned child to a brother, sister, and just a side note, I'll share this story at another time, but they ended up getting adopted and they now live in Australia. So it had a happy ending. But when I went there, you'd see all these kids that didn't have volunteers. So I'd come in to find my kids and they would call them out of a class. It was a Sunday, other families are out having that experience, and these are kids. It almost felt like the staff and the teachers and everything were positive, but I couldn't help but feel it was some sort of institutional type thing, which it is, right? Like a prison or this kind of sense. And so the kids would be in there, a group of kids, maybe 15 or something, watching a movie. And then I would come to the door and the staff would call in my kid. And then they'd say her name or his name. It was brother, sister. And then everyone would look, and then my kid would come and we would spend some time, maybe, a couple of hours. We'd have a snack, stay in the vicinity of the orphanage, or there's a playground, this kind of thing. So we would just spend time with the child and give them a sense of I'll just share, I came with at the time I had a partner, a girlfriend and a child, and we would go, and the whole concept was to give them a sense of what a family was. So the experience was profound for me. And one day, the little girl that I would care for, she was 7 at the time, and she held my hand, and there was a park, inside the vicinity, and all the kids were playing, and I told her, hey, go play, go play. And then she held my hand and she looked up, and she said, Daddy, can I call you Daddy? And then I was like, no, no. And in Hong Kong, they say, like, for someone that's not related, they say uncle. So I was like, no, no, just call me uncle, you know. But that was a powerful experience. And I know I'm getting off track, but my point is, the main point is that when I went in there and I knew the impact I had on the lives that I was around, I saw all those other kids that had zero volunteers on Sunday. So they would just see me come get the kid, leave, and then they would go back to watching the movie. Like, oh man, So I have a personal, the Quarless brand project is more broad. How can we help children in different ways? We can work with all different kind of organizations, but my personal piece to this are children that don't have parents. So orphan children that are looking to find their place in the world. And I think my intention is to increase the level of volunteers, and we do it in a way, because we need to protect children, we do it in a way where there are safety protocols in place, there's monitoring, there's more than one adult with a child at a time, we have all sorts of safety mechanisms in place to protect children. But the idea is, because as a child that's vulnerable without parents, an adult figure is very, very powerful in their world, right? And you out there, and I want to talk about, I didn't expect this. I want to talk about anyone thinking about like checking out too early. I promise you, I promise you, if you volunteer with orphan children or vulnerable children, and you see the impact you have on their life, even experiences you've had that are negative, maybe you've been molested as a child, maybe you've been abused in some way, maybe you've had people in your life very close to you betray you, right? These experiences, you can frame them in a way that they positively can impact other people, and in that process you can see how they've made you so much stronger, right? So yeah, so I just wanted to share that point. That's my piece to this. um I want to focus on my delivery, not saying ums and ahs. Anyways, anywho, all right. And I wanted to share this point about, because it came to me this week, about consistency is king. And just a side note, you see how passionate I get about this stuff? It's like, if I need to at least plant the seeds right now, even if for some reason I'm no longer in this world after this moment, what I just shared, I got a little bit emotional. I expressed something to someone out there that heard it, and they're like, maybe they were thinking their path was going to go a different way. That moment just then could have changed something where, and I don't know how it all works, the universe or whatever, and then they volunteer with a kid, and that kid turns out to, flow into something beautiful in this world and be a great contributor to the society. Like, we don't know how it all works. So this is helpful as well for you, whoever you are, whatever you're trying to do. Like, you have to try. You do not want to be on your deathbed. You may have heard this term before. I've heard it from many different sources, but it's absolutely true. And the death of my father woke me up. The people around me who are now gone, this process has woken me up. The people around me who I trusted, who were douchebags, this has now woken me up, right? So now I'm focused on, when I reach my deathbed, whenever I reach my deathbed, whether it's today or whether it's when I'm an old man, when I get to that point and I have that moment, hopefully, if it's not a sudden, if it's not a sudden if it's not a sudden shift into the other realm, if I have that brief moment of reflection on my life, the goal, the key, the objective is, of course, there's going to be memories of wrong turns and mistakes and errors and this kind of thing. But in it all, that effort, that like, did you try? And that's what this project is all about. Okay. And that's why we're here again in episode 3. And I'm going to go into, and I just want to make this point. Jocko Willink is a prior Navy SEAL. He's an author. He also has a podcast, but I follow his content, and I've been following for several years. And, I'm not that into it in terms of the I'm not religious about it. Okay. However, a few times he's made some very powerful, impactful statements or, content I've received from him. And one of them is about perceiving things as being positive. How do you frame things positively, no matter what the case is? Even the worst negative thing you can possibly think of, it could be worse. What's the positive in it? So I've been using that, and I received that from Jocko. So I've been receiving that and using that. So I wanted to acknowledge him for that. Also, every day, from what I know, because I see it all the time, every day he posts a photo of his watch, and it's somewhere around 4:30-ish a.m. every single day. And I saw it a few times, and it's like, okay, I see the post, and it didn't register with me. I'm talking years ago, and it didn't register. And it's like, all right, man, like, all right, this guy's motivated. This guy's waking up. Like, I get it. And even the thought of waking up that early, I'm like, I did the before, the 5 a.m. club type thing, like before the sun, beating the sun up. I've tried these things, different morning routine schedule. But the key is this consistent. That's where it came to me this week. I saw it again and again this week. Every time, like I went on X, and it's like, boom, there it is. Boom, there it is. New day, 4:30, 4:32. And today, ironically, it was 4 a.m. and it's Sunday. So it's like on Sunday, most people are like, let me just say a lot of people are, hungover from Saturday night, or it's like Sunday's my day to relax and everything. And the message was clear. Sunday's our early day. Okay. So that message gave me the idea for this week's theme, which is consistency is king. And I linked that directly into this podcast, which is as you're being consistent, you get a better sense of what's possible and what's not possible based on your abilities, abilities in many different ways, technical abilities, leadership abilities, all different ways, all different types of skills. You can better assess and adjust and see the objective and then think, well, how can I reach that objective with the current framework? And how do I make adjustments? So that's capabilities. Next, as I mentioned, comfort in predictability. When you know that like all week I knew this was coming, including accountability, which we're going to get to. So I got some explaining to do. All right. So, and in that predictability, this comfort and predictability comes confidence. So it's like, and again, what did I just say? There's things that are, you're discovering what your capabilities are, which right in it of itself, you see, and then you just go with the flow. If I do live events, sometimes I'll misspeak and I just go with the flow so smoothly. It's not even a big deal. And I've done that, and I look back at the tape, because in the moment I'm doing, I'd be doing a live event with a huge audience. I make some error, and in my mind, it's like, oh man, I keep going, but wow, that was a massive error. And then I go back and look at the tape, and it's not even a big deal. It's like, and I'm the one that's in front of all these people, and most of them, you'd be surprised, most of the people are terrified. Like they're talking shit, they're judging, and they're like, I can never do that. I can't go on stage in front of thousands of people, right? Or on television. It reminds me of a story. Someone I know called me a clown. Okay, it's a hater, so to the hater. He called me a clown because I go on television in Hong Kong on a major game show. And on this game show, let me explain the complexity of it. Number one, there's a live studio audience. Number two, it's a game show with two different teams playing against each other. Number three, there are cameras. Okay, I'm setting up the framework for you. So I need to be mindful of the live audience. The cameras are filming me. I'm communicating and interacting with the audience. But what am I doing? Okay, I'm not fluent in Cantonese or in Mandarin. But what's happening is in the game show, they have to guess the song I'm singing. So I literally have on headphones. So I have on headphones. And I'm hearing a song for the first time ever in a foreign language. And what I need to do is I need to time it perfectly where I hear enough of the song that I can then start to sing the song, but it comes out butchered. And then the people are confused and they have to guess the song. That's the concept, okay? So not only am I focused on a live audience, on the television cameras, on the different people here. By the way, there's a female singer next to me and we have interaction, okay? She's a foreigner as well. So I have this going on. It's very complex. There's a lot of pressure, but I'm in my element. I'm smooth. And let me tell you about the actual process. If you start too early, you start to hear the song and you start too early, you can't get a sense of it, right? Of the vocals. You can't get a sense of it and then you fail. And then they don't know this. No one can guess the song and you fail in this role. The other point is if you wait too long, like you're trying to get a sense of it, then you miss the starting moment to like start to deliver the song effectively. And then suddenly, because you don't know the song, there's a little bit of like an intro moment with the melody. And then all of a sudden, as you're trying to get that right, it goes into the main part or it shifts. And if you don't get, you have to get the timing very well, because I've been on this show multiple times, 6 or 7 times. They call me back. I'm the regular guess the song vocalist, male vocalist for this game show. And the reason I'm so effective at it is because it's confusing enough to the contestants that it's a game and they're guessing and this one's wrong. Go back. Is it this song? And then someone will get it, right? If I wasn't effective at this job, no one would get it. And then they'd have to go to they'd cut the song and then the host would like tell them the name of the song and I'd be fired. The reason I went into all of that was it is highly complex, this type of performance, if you will. And I actually had somebody, a hater, say that this was clown-like for me to do this. And I would challenge that person to come and perform the way I perform, to try. And they couldn't even get close. I bet you they wouldn't even be able to get up on stage in front of people without looking weak. You know what I mean? So, let me not say weak. Let me be clear. Without looking too scripted. Okay? So, it's time for, what is our time, by the way?
24 minutes.
24 minutes. All right, we're doing better, people. And like I've said in a previous episode, when we watch live streams, there's a certain cadence to the flow, and it's much more smooth, and they're like hanging out, and they're chatting, like, yeah, I'm going to go take a pee or whatever, right? So I find like I'm trying to deliver value, and I'm super intense a lot. So I'm going to work on that. But I don't want to be boring. You know what I'm saying? So, excuse me, why? All right. Accountability time. Let's call this the confession. Okay? And the reason it's intense, if you will, is because it directly relates to the Marine Corps project and having accountability. And that's something that I learned deeply in the Marine Corps. So it's like, you know, why did you not do X or Y? You know, and the point is, it's not about, you know, there's no excuse. It's like you have to explain why it didn't get done, and then how this problem's not going to happen again. Okay, so what I want to share is in episode 2, I spoke about, you know, I'm going to contact the president and the Secretary of War and the Commandant and the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps and all the units around the world and influencers and all of this, right? But in order to effectively contact and communicate, there's a couple of points. One, you need to be, you need to go through the proper channels, right? Like phone calls, email with phone call follow-up, right? Document who am I speaking to, who is the person I should be speaking to, document all this process. That takes a lot of time. So that's number one. Number two is whoever you're communicating with is going to respond back and ask questions, and then this takes time. So for me last week on episode 2 to say by episode 3, like I'm going to do all of that was a bit bananas. So, and this has to do with understanding capabilities and making adjustments, okay? So with that said, I thought I could take a shortcut, and I thought like the universe was just going to help me out. So I want to apologize to Elon Musk, because I thought the shortcut was I would go to X and follow all the proper accounts related to who can help with Ode to the Marine Corps, and then post a bunch of content, videos, you know, the lyrical video clips of Ode to the Marine Corps. Saturate it with hashtags, and then tag people like crazy. So basically like spam bomb X. And I thought this would be like a shock and awe ripple through the system. People would see it and like be like, whoa, what is this song? Whoa, this is amazing. And then they would share it. And then it was like, that part of the checklist, done. Thank you, X. And that's not what happened. And so the reason I want to apologize is because the more I go on to X, you can really get a sense of how it's a different kind of social animal than other media. And as I continue to, again, I'm all different roles within this business at this stage. So as I'm taking on the social media management role, I'm really getting a sense of what works and what doesn't on the different platforms. So what I've done is I've removed all of those tags that I tagged people. You know, I tagged all these influencers and different people. I've removed that, and in order to do edits on X, you need to join X. So you need a paid subscription. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and get rid of a lot of these hashtags that I put in there, and just keep it 1 to 3. So it's like maybe the brand, Quarless, what the project is, and then what the project's about. Okay, just a few hashtags, little description, you have an area, little descriptive thing, and then, go from there. And not just do like the lyrical video. So I'll put some other content in there, but so this is the adjustment I've made. The reason I'm mentioning that is I understand and recognize that I believe in the mission of Ode to the Marine Corps, okay? And the oath, which is that every living Marine will know these words, Ode to the Marine Corps, and know what this project is, right? But in order to do that, it's going to take a more strategic approach, and I'm going to cover that today. But definitely this week, it's on the agenda. At a minimum, the email to target people and then the follow-up phone calls to specific people or organizations that can definitely get this thing, move the ball forward on a trajectory, a higher trajectory, very impactful, if you will. So, but I have to be, this is a several week process in terms of communicating and responding and really getting endorsements. Okay. But this week that process is happening. Another point. So I discussed today in terms of accountability, the inability to properly manage all the elements. Like I mentioned in episode 2, if I can juggle 3 things, but there's 6 things to do, I'm dropping things. I'm dropping tasks. Okay. So that goes into the team. Okay. So, and this is a positive in terms of the operations team. In episode 1, the idea was for them to just contact us. If you're interested in joining the operations team, you can, communicate with the chat box. And then that got changed. In episode 2, I said, if you're interested, there's a page dedicated to creators and influencers and investors who want to be involved with creating a song brand and all that entails with the opportunity. I said on there, I'll just include an extra in terms of on the form at the top. You need to select like what your interest is or who you are, right? Are you an artist or an influencer, etc. I just simply added, you want to be on the ops team. Well, that's being removed, and now we have a full, for episode 3, I want to announce, this is something I worked on last week. We have a dedicated page fully describing what it means to become part of the Quarless operations team. It's also known as, because it's a Quarless operator, Q Core. If you want to become a part of the Q Core, you can go to the page, click on more. You'll see a drop down. It says apply for the ops team. That gives you a full description of all the benefits. The main benefit is as revenue flows in from all the different projects, we have an allotted budget, a percentage of revenue that comes in that gets shared with the members. It's not related to a specific project. We want people to come in at the organizational level and help us grow and develop the brand. As other brands come on and as we grow, think of each song brand or each different project as its own little mini IP. The main system gets a piece of everything, and then we are going to share that with the operations team. It's fully detailed on that page. You can go to Quarless.com/ I believe it's Quarless.com/apply ops team. I think so. All right. But anyway, you can go to the main site and get that. Okay. So that's a positive that was done this week. Oh, another beautiful thing, which came this week. So again, it's not that it's basically like I shifted based on what was in front of me with the objectives and goals still in mind. So the blog is now live. What we do is we take the weekly episode and we have a summary of the weekly. So basically, if I go an hour, some people don't want to spend the energy and time with us now like this. So we create a summary that comes in the form of a blog. It includes the video if people are interested in watching the video. And so far, we did episode 1, the blog is out. Episode 2, the blog is out. Episode 3, the objective is, stay with me now, by tomorrow, within a day, we will take this live. It'll go live on Facebook, but we will take it and we will put it on the blog and get it out on the different platforms as well. So the idea is to do that much more rapidly. The value here is also, for example, the Quarless site is now becoming more rich with content for SEO, etc. And we're really building something beautiful and staking our claim within the world and internet land. So I'm excited about that. One of the problems for this week, I'm going back and forth, confession, accountability, things to do. So we have tons of content now, video content, hours of it. And even things from before, you'll see video clips coming out with me with facial hair and all that. That's from stuff from before. The problem we have is the current team as we exist, we don't have time to go through and, go through all the videos again and find the different clips. So what we're going to do is research. I know there are a bunch of tools out there, software it takes long videos and it finds the right moments and it makes shorts from that. So we're going to go through, we're going to test several different softwares this week, and through that process, get those clips. And that's part of this week's mission, is getting multiple clips of valuable content from the previous, stay with me, from the previous live streams. Also we've been filming the behind the scenes content, going to China, etc., doing Kung Fu up on the mountain. All right. So we have all kinds of cool content. All right. And the goal, the focus, the objective is to get that stuff out. So what I will do, I'll just do a quick recap and I think we can close it out for today. All right. Consistency is king. So unless I'm dead, I'll see you next week. All right. Sunday night, we are working on getting the broadcast better. So better quality in the video, better sound, all of that, streaming on multi-platforms. That's all coming. But the goal is to get this other stuff that I've discussed today more. We got to build the foundation before we go too high and the building falls over. You know what I'm saying? So we're working on those elements. Okay. And again, just to recap, the issues were the communications. So I'm working on the communications more spread out. And the Facebook group, this is a deep, deep confession. I'm guilty. So if you're someone who's watching the series and you watch episode 2, I talked all kind of trash about how vibrant and booming the Facebook group was going to be. At this moment, on January 18th, 2026, there is one member on the Facebook group Ode to the Marine Corps, and that member is me. So, and there is content on there. There's one piece of content. It's the updated cover page. So I have failed to deliver what I promised to deliver. And what the focus is now, and again, I'm focused on building the foundation and making adjustments. So the reason I'm so transparent and sharing is I had to make the call. Am I communicating with people directly, making phone calls half-ass? I have this thing and then I just throw up the Facebook group page and it looks like trash, right? Or do we get systematic? Are we getting more clear on we built the team recruitment page? So it's we got to focus on getting more team members, and then that will relieve pressure off of me to do other things more focused. So developing the team is a key element. Let me go into this week's focus. Team recruitment, critical. But even if we don't have team members yet, or more team members, we can still do with what's in our capability effectively, which that includes now with the Facebook group today. Mark my words, because as soon as we stop the live stream, that's the objective for today. We are in an effective, comprehensive way building out the Ode to the Marine Corps Facebook group page, because this is the hub. This is the way we rapidly expand awareness for Ode to the Marine Corps. So we are building that in a very comprehensive, thought out way. And then once that is done, and it's ready, which is today, we are then inviting all of the Marines we know personally from Facebook. So we have, I don't even know how many friends I have, 100 plus easily on Facebook. So I'll go ahead and send out a personal invite to join the group. And then the idea is we want it to go organic from that point. But we're not like, just like a military campaign, we're not depending on that. We're also doing some of these other channels and communications, as I mentioned. So, okay. And I mentioned as well last week that we added another brand, Mr. Jim Q. And this is, you'll start to see, if you follow my content, you'll start to see Mr. Jim Q, where you'll see the animated character, and then it's me with kids in either in a play group environment, so the kids are quite young, babies, anywhere from 9 months to, a couple of years old, few years old, toddlers. So you'll see me with these kind of kids, or teaching them, or in the streets. We do we do interactive actions randomly with kids in the street. We give them stickers and this kind of thing. So this is building the comfort and trust with me as an educator. And I have a background in psychology, child psychology, years of experience. So I have a combination of getting children to be more confident in whatever their abilities are. There's that, and then there's the actual language learning system that I've developed from teaching here over 10 years in Hong Kong. Specifically, this is where the Mr. Jim Q brand absolutely fits into the Quarless model, where we have a tribal element. So there has to be a group, there has to be a product or an offer. There has to be some kind of product, right? And then there's stay with me. There is the sharing of, like, we share with each other. So the point is, I want to make, this is the main point. Every brand you could think of related to the Quarless infrastructure has that tribal element. The Marine Corps is a tribe. Chinese Kung Fu, this community is a tribe, right? Bajan, Barbadian people, specifically Bajan people that have migrated, come to America, come to New York, let's say. So there's these groups. What I was missing with the Mr. Jim Q project was this education system here is a machine, and people learn it like robots. They learn grammar first. They're so focused on not making mistakes that, like, when they need to communicate, it's too late. They're already 3, 4, 5 years old, and they don't get a concept of the language in a natural way. By the time they become adults, they're like afraid to communicate. Even if they understand what you're saying, they watch content, they like movies, whatever, they really don't have a clear sense of communicating effectively. And this starts at the baby level, okay? When they're as young as possible. And this is where the brand comes into play. But the tribal element that I didn't quite see at first is there is a small group, but they're big enough to affect this brand and make it work within the framework. And those are believers in changing the English education system in Hong Kong. That is local parents and educators, teachers. We also have, as I may have mentioned in a previous episode, we have Chinese-born people. So Chinese, ethnically Chinese, but they were born in the US or Canada, Australia, UK, etc., even in Hong Kong, but they've been raised in a native way. So they naturally speak English, and these people are going to be critical. So I'm sending love to you right now, because they are discriminated against. It's like, everyone's, black, there's black people, white people, Native Americans are red, Asian people are yellow, right? You heard this term? So it's like yellow on yellow racism, okay? So they have to face this issue, and we're going to go ahead and take this thing that's perceived as a detriment or as a negative in the culture, because parents here want a white looking teacher to teach their Chinese kid, regardless of their English level or English ability. Could be someone from a foreign country. I mentioned this in episode 2. I remember, I'm just reiterating. Apologies. But these people that are ethnically Chinese and fluent English speakers, this is an absolute asset. We welcome you, and you are going to be critical in helping transform the education system in Hong Kong. So welcome to you. And last point, we're going to focus on, I'm calling it sales, but it's not really sales. It's basically making deals, right? Communicating something of value to where the person that you're communicating with sees and recognizes the value and moves forward in some way. That includes endorsements for Ode to the Marine Corps. We have a proposal we're working on where we will help promote, I shouldn't say promote, we will acknowledge and share links and content for the people who are on board to promote Ode to the Marine Corps being known to Marines everywhere, the oath. We are working on elite members who are the fuel to build the Quarless brand and our legacy. So we're looking for people who want to be members at the highest levels. They pay, you could pay monthly, but ideally it's the yearly fee. That helps to fuel funds into our system and helps us rapidly grow. And part of that membership is they do actually get an advocate or an affiliate account. And as funds flow in, we make sure that we help put their affiliate link related to different products and promotions we're doing to ensure that they are getting value as an elite member, okay? Including having insights, opportunities, first opportunities for new first option, I should say, for new projects and this kind of thing. Learning center contracts. We're doing a lot, okay? But in my daily schedule, the real bread and butter, yes, I would love Quarless.com and our concept, our e-store, our membership infrastructure to just blow up and be, generating millions of dollars, most of which flows to our members. As that money flows in, the members are fueled in their lives, in their separate side projects, their family, their future security. They are all fueled, but because it's related to Quarless, they help continue to perpetuate the brand. And then we're up there. It's a known brand. Quarless is a known brand, along with, think of any famous brand, a multi-billion-dollar company that's our brand that comes to your mind. Quarless is up there with that. People are wearing the gear, the Quarless sports gear. You know what I mean? It's everywhere. Yoga, Quarless yoga. People, you see girlies with the pow with the Quarless, on the yoga pants. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this is the vision. However, I need to eat and I need to pay rent. And I have costs and expenses. So what we're doing, the bread and butter that I know, the guaranteed money is learning centers or private clients. They need a teacher. And what I offer is very different because as I mentioned before, I'm not super known here, but I am on television and everything. So there's a celebrity factor. So I'm a known foreigner in Hong Kong. I have an effective teaching methodology. And we also have, with the Mr. Q brand, we actually have a marketing platform to help promote different centers we work with or different partners we work with, organizations here in Hong Kong that synergize with our message and methodology. So we are looking so there's enough time in my schedule where we could do a few contracts, go around, do some teaching in the local area, and that will help bring funds in. It will also help us to further build the value of the brand, the trust in the brand as we continue to expand. And then very soon, as the team grows, we're going to shift that to where I turn into a cartoon, into an animation character. And then I am not fully focused on physically being in these centers teaching. We then take the character, with the voice, like, hey there, I have my own voice when I talk to kids or whatever. We still use that voice, the animated character, and we build the brand. Focused in Hong Kong, we can affect China, we can affect English education around the world, but as a tribe, we are focused on transforming, improving greatly, measurably, the English education system in Hong Kong, period. That will occur. That is occurring, okay? When you speak to the universe, I've heard this, in our dimension, we're in the fourth dimension. There are 3 dimensions, as you know, and then the fourth dimension of time. In the 5th dimension, which is the area beyond time, where the universe exists, I don't know anything beyond the 5th dimension. It's like beyond my comprehension. I'm like a square, and I know about a cube. I'm like, anything beyond that, I'm not sure. But this idea, so beyond time, what you do is you don't speak you don't do time speak, because time speak is like, I will do this, and what it means is you don't have it now. So in the realm of the universe, you say I am. So we are changing. You can do that. We are changing the Hong Kong education system in a powerful way that's going to impact the lives of learners here for their whole lives, and give them the ability to more effectively lead and have amazing lives in Hong Kong and abroad, and etc. All right, you see what I'm saying. I'm rambling at this point. All right. Last thing, the 100 founding members. We're still not up to 100 founding members. What that's going to do, all you have to do to become a founding member is very simple. You go to Quarless.com, you go to join. You join as a free member, you get an immediate automatic upgrade to a premium member for 1 full year. That gives you access to all the premium bennies, like the groups, extra training, etc., exclusive content. And the way it works is we're not just going to give you a premium membership for a year and like, good luck. Every 3 months, we'll give you a 3-month membership, which is renewable for free for active members. So you have the opportunity of a lifetime as a Founding 100. You're going to get the badge that says you're a Founding 100 member. And my goal for the Founding 100 is to have the maximum percentage of these members become ridiculously secure in their life financially. And then people can say, wow, how did this happen? And they could say, well, a major contributor was Quarless.com. I am one of the founding members. I'm 37 or I'm 52. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. We are almost on an hour again. I think it works. I think it works. But this is where part of our framework, and I just want to share, because we have the framework concept, a theme will emerge. Sometimes the theme is planned. Other times after we do the podcast, we look back and say, what did we get from this? And the theme, so there's a theme, okay? So this week's theme was consistency is king, baby. So there's a theme, and then lessons learned, both negative and positive. This is where the accountability element comes into play, and how we can make adjustments, which flows right into this week's plan, which we just covered. And there is a section for questions or feedback, ideas, okay? That's where we are now. So whether you're seeing this live or you're seeing it after it's posted, just go ahead and give your honest thoughts. Again, don't be speak with good intention.